Imagine a life where fear no longer holds you back, a life where you approach challenges with calm clarity and confidence. What if I told you that Buddhist teachings, which have guided millions towards peace and wisdom for over 1,000 years, offer powerful tools to overcome fear and transform your mindset? In today's video, we're going to explore 6 powerful lessons from the Buddha on how to stop your fears. Embrace life with courage and move beyond your limitations. These teachings will help you understand the nature of fear, shift your perspective, and ultimately find freedom from the anxiety that holds you back. So if you are ready to break free from the grip of fear, let's dive into these transformative Buddhist lessons. 1. Embrace impermanence. Buddha taught that everything in life is impermanent. Our thoughts, emotions, and even our fears. Fear and anxiety often arise when we resist change. You'll cling to the idea that things should remain exactly as they are. We fear losing things, our job, our health, our loved ones, and the very thought of these losses can trigger panic and unease. But the reality is that life is always in flux. The only constant is change. Buddhism teaches us that attachment to things that are impermanent only creates suffering. When we get to attach to specific outcomes or worry about future uncertainties, we reinforce the illusion that life should stay the same. This attachment is a major source of fear. But here is the truth: everything is temporary. The happiness you feel today may not last forever, but neither will your pain, your anxiety, or your fear. Nothing is permanent and everything changes. And that's where the power of anicca comes in. When you understand that everything in your life is temporary, including your fears, you start to let go of the need for control. You no longer need to hold tightly to the illusion that things should stay fixed. Instead of fearing the unknown or worrying about losing something, you can shift your mindset and learn to embrace change as a natural part of life when you are in a period of hardship. Whether you are facing a difficult challenge at work, in a relationship, or struggling with your own emotions, remember that this too shall pass. The discomfort you feel right now is not permanent. Anicca reminds us that the suffering we experience is transient and constantly changing. By accepting this, we free ourselves from the fear of permanent failure or pain. When you accept that everything is impermanent, you stop overthinking the future. Instead of imagining worst-case scenarios that may never come to pass, you start living with more equanimity. You are able to trust that whatever happens will change in time and that your mind will adapt to new circumstances as they come. Anicca teaches you to be present and not get lost in worry about what might happen next. So how to practice embracing impermanence? Take time to reflect on the changing nature of everything around you, whether it's the seasons, the growth of a tree, or the passing of a day. Remember that nothing stays the same forever. Recognizing the natural flow of life can help you accept your own changing circumstances, since impermanence teaches us that the present moment is all we truly have. Focus on being present. Stop dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Instead, bring your attention to what is happening right now. In doing so, you will see that even your fears are temporary and will pass too. See the illusion of fear. Buddha taught that much of what we experience is an illusion created by our minds. Fear, too, is often based on our imagination, the what-ifs that have not happened yet. By recognizing that fear is often a product of our thoughts and not reality, we can begin to separate ourselves from the stories our minds tell us. In that awareness, fear loses its grip. Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a cliff. Looking down, your heart races, your palms sweat. But what is really happening? Are you falling? No. Are you in danger? Not at all. What is happening is that your mind is anticipating something that isn't even real. Our minds create these stories. We imagine the worst-case scenario. We play out every possible disaster in our heads. But here's the truth. Fear is just a thought. It's not a fact, it is a mental pattern, one that you can break. Fear is like a shadow that disappears when you face it. With the light of awareness, every time you step into something new, you will feel fear, but that fear is not a reflection of reality. It is a signal that you are stepping out of your comfort zone. It is a sign of growth. Fear is not trying to stop you. It is trying to teach you that you are on the verge of something greater. Do not let the illusion of fear hold you back from stepping into your power. You are not the fear you feel. You are the awareness behind it. You are the strength that faces it. And when you see fear for what it truly is, a temporary, fleeting illusion, you take away its power over you. You see that fear is simply a thought in your mind, and just like all thoughts, it can change, it can pass. So the next time fear comes knocking, remember this: it's not real. It's just an illusion. You have the power to let it go. You have the strength to overcome it, and you have the courage to live the life you truly deserve. 3C to it: mindfulness. Sati mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in the moment. Fear often lives in the past or future, creating stories in our minds. When we bring ourselves back to the present moment through mindful breathing, awareness of our body, or simply focusing on our surroundings, we create space between ourselves and the fear. We realize that fear is just a passing thought, not an undeniable truth. Mindfulness develops mental stability, allowing you to stay calm even in the face of fear. When you are fully present, you are not reacting impulsively to every fearful thought that enters your mind. Instead, you're able to pause and choose how to respond when fear-based thoughts arise. Practice observing them with detachment. Sit quietly and notice the thoughts that come into your mind. What if I fail? Or what if something bad happens? Instead of getting swept away by them, simply acknowledge that these are just thoughts. You can label them if it helps. Here is fear. Again, by observing without attachment, you stop identifying with the fear and create space to choose how to respond. Fear doesn't just affect our thoughts. It also manifests in our bodies. You might notice erasing heart tightness in your chest, shallow breathing, or sweaty palms. When you are anxious or afraid, through mindfulness, you can bring awareness to these physical sensations rather than trying to escape them or make them go away. You learn to observe them with curiosity by acknowledging the physical presence of fear without judgment or resistance. You start to desensitize yourself to it. The Buddha taught, the mind is everything. What you think you become when you can observe your fear and body's response without reacting to it. You start to transform your relationship with fear itself. 4. Understand the nature of suffering. Doer in Buddhist teachings, the nature of suffering is a central concept that not only explains the difficulties we face in life, but also offers the path toward liberation from those difficulties. Fear, as an emotional response, is one of the many forms of suffering that arise from our relationship with the world. By understanding dukkha and its deeper causes, we can transform our experience of fear and move toward inner freedom. The Buddha taught that suffering is a natural part of life and that it is universal. Fear, anxiety, and worry are simply types of suffering that arise when we encounter situations of uncertainty, loss, or perceived danger. These are not unique to you, but part of the human experience. The fact that suffering is universal means that everyone experiences fear in some form, whether it is fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of rejection, or existential fears like the fear of death. Fear often arises when we feel threatened, but when we understand that suffering is universal, we realize we are not alone in our fear. How this helps with overcoming fear. When you recognize that fear is a common human experience, it becomes less isolating and less intimidating. You can relate to others who also face fear. which reduces the intensity and personal nature of it. Fear loses its grip when you see it as part of the natural flow of life. Something everyone experiences, not a personal failing. 5. Let go of attachment. Tanner in Buddhism, one of the most powerful teachings for overcoming fear, is the concept of letting go of attachment, or Tanner Tan refers to the craving, clinging or attachment to things, experiences, people, or even our own identity. It is this attachment that often fuels our fears, anxieties, and insecurities. Understanding how to release attachment is key to overcoming fear and finding lasting peace. So what is attachment? Tanha. Tanha is often translated as craving or thirst, a strong desire to possess or control something, whether it be material things, emotional experiences, or even our own identities. Attachment arises from the belief that something external to us will bring us lasting happiness or security. We become fixated on these things, thinking that without them we cannot be whole or safe. Fear often arises when we perceive that we are losing or could lose what we are attached to, whether it's the fear of losing a relationship, a job, social status, or even our own sense of identity. Attachment causes us to feel insecure and vulnerable. Letting go of attachment doesn't mean that we stop caring about things or giving up our desires, but rather that we stop clinging to them. If they define our happiness or safety, it means we stop depending on external conditions to provide lasting security. When we release attachment, we free ourselves from the grip of fear. Without the weight of attachment, we are less likely to be shaken by change, loss, or the unpredictable nature of life. In order to let go of attachment, you can practice non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference or detachment from life. It means approaching life with a sense of equanimity and openness. It involves enjoying things without clinging to them or expecting them to provide lasting satisfaction. If you feel fear around a particular outcome, for example, an important project or exam, practice non-attachment by focusing on doing your best. Rather than being attached to the specific results, you can take action without being consumed by the outcome. Also, you can practice letting go of the need for control. Fear often arises when we try to control every aspect of our lives. We fear the unknown because we can't predict what will happen, but life is inherently unpredictable, and trying to control everything only increases anxiety. By letting go of the need for control, you allow life to unfold as it will. This doesn't mean being passive or careless, but rather accepting that we cannot control all outcomes and that uncertainty is a natural part of life. 6. Cultivate patience. Kanti in Buddhism. Patience. Kanti is a powerful virtue that plays a central role in overcoming fear. Fear often arises from impatience, our desire for immediate answers, quick fixes, or control over uncertain situations. When we cultivate patience, we create space for our fears to subside, and we develop the inner strength to face life's challenges with equanimity. Let's explore how patience can help you transform fear into calm and wisdom. Fear often emerges from a sense of urgency. We are afraid because we don't know what will happen next, or we're anxious about the future. This anxiety is rooted in a lack of patience, a desire for quick results or certainty in a world that is inherently uncertain. Fear of uncertainty. When we don't know what the future holds, we panic. We want to control outcomes, but life is unpredictable, and this causes discomfort. Fear of delay. We fear that things won't happen on our timetable, whether it is achieving a goal, overcoming a challenge, or waiting for something important to unfold. The Buddha taught that impatience feeds suffering, while patience offers a way out of fear and anxiety. In order to overcome fear, we must learn to be patient with the present moment, accepting that things unfold in their own time. Patience helps us accept what is beyond our control. When we cultivate patience, we learn to accept uncertainty and trust that things will unfold as they are meant to, even if we can't predict or control them. This trust reduces the fear that comes from trying to manage. The uncontrollable patience helps us tolerate discomfort. Fear, like any other emotion, often arises when we encounter discomfort. Whether it's emotional, mental, or physical, we may fear the discomfort itself or the idea that we won't be able to handle it. Patience helps us bear discomfort without reacting impulsively or trying to escape it. Instead of running away from the sensation of fear, patience allows us to stay present with it. Over time, we learn that fear, like all emotions, is temporary. When we allow fear to be present without resistance, it gradually loses its intensity. Patience with ourselves. Fear often comes from self-judgment, worrying that we are not good enough, that we will fail, or that we will disappoint ourselves or others. When we cultivate patience, we allow ourselves the time and space to grow. We stop expecting perfection and recognize that mistakes and setbacks are part of the human experience. Being patient with ourselves reduces fear of failure. It allows us to approach life's challenges with a more compassionate and understanding mindset, knowing that growth takes time and that it's okay to stumble along the way. By embracing these 6 teachings from Buddha, you can start to transform your relationship with fear. Instead of being overwhelmed or paralyzed by fear, you'll begin to see it as an opportunity for growth, awareness, and deeper peace. Remember, fear is not something to fight against or repress. It's simply a part of life, something we can learn to understand, navigate, and eventually transcend through mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. If you found these lessons helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, you have the power to stop your fears and live a life filled with courage, peace, and freedom. Thank you.